For 13th August 2026, let's have a good discussion on current affairs which are news and which have higher probability of questions being framed from this area. So good day dear aspirants, welcome to Decode UPSC. Let's get started. So we have another new species which is in the news. So that is called as Gatiana, which is called as Gatiana. Have you heard about this name Gatiana? From Karnataka, Gatiana from Karnataka. So, where it has been reported is that Karnataka's Udupi district Mokambika Wildlife Sanctuary at Mokambika Wildlife Sanctuary, and it is a freshwater crab. It is a freshwater crab. Okay, so freshwater crab, then it was discovered at Mokambika Wildlife Sanctuary at Karnataka. Here we have to look is that consists of, it is the 15th Gatiana genus species. So as of now, nearly 15 different species have been discovered from this genus. So recorded from the Western Ghats. So we know precisely that any new species which is coming in the news mostly will be from either northeastern states, either it may be northeastern states or eastern Ghats, so which are very sensitive zones and which are rich in biodiversity, so which are rich in biodiversity. And eight of these, so out of total 15 species as of now discovered, so nearly 8 species belong to or which are endemic to Karnataka, which are endemic to Karnataka. So, which means which are found exclusively in that area only. So, endemic, which means which can be found only there. So, which are endemic to Karnataka. So, what are the unusual traits which helped scientists to recognize these species is that recorded across all seasons. The unusual trait is that they can record Gatiana across the all seasons, unlike related species that are hard to find in dry months. See, remember the 15th Gatiana species which has been discovered recently, which will be present all throughout the seasons. But whereas the other species will not be available all throughout the seasons, which will be available only in the wet season, not in the dry seasons. So, what are their habitat? They live nearly perennial streams in evergreen as well as semi-evergreen forest. So, they live near perennial streams in evergreen and semi-evergreen forest, laterite soils in monsoon, moist tree cavities otherwise. So this is the habitat where the Gatiana Karnataka resides. Okay, so how can we identify these species from other species is that it has a dark body, dark purple body with light pink claws, dark purple body with light pink claws. So distinguishing it from Karnataka's other seven Gatiana species. The other seven Gatiana species, and this is differentiated by having dark purple body with light pink claws over it. So this is about Gatiana, Karnataka. Gatiana, Karnataka, a new freshwater crab species which is in use, which resides near perennial river streams in evergreen and semi-evergreen forest, mostly laterite soils in monsoon, moist tree cavities otherwise. So this is about Gatiana, Karnataka. Next, moving forward, we have another islands which are in news. So where the Russian president, had made his first ever visit to a disputed islands, Iturup. So amid strained Russia and Japan ties over Ukraine. See, ever since the Russia started invading Ukraine, so it is collecting a bunch of enemies also. So bunch of people who are not supporting them. So Russia as well as Japan from several years have been over a discussion regarding few islands. So today we will be discussing about those islands. They are called as Kuril Islands. They are called as Kuril Islands, and today they are in news because Kuril Islands are nearly 57 group of islands. They are nearly 57 group of islands. So among those islands, to one of those islands, which is called as Iturup, Russian president had visited. So why there is a conflict between Russia and Japan over these Kuril Islands is that so Russia claims that for southernmost islands, the islands out of all the islands, it is claiming the southern few islands to be part of Japan, the southern islands to be part of Japan, so which considers Japan considers them to be northern territories. Northern territories. Okay, so which earlier they had some deal with respect to some deal with World War II with respect to World War II peace treaty. Okay, so here, sorry, archipelago which consists of 56 group of islands, so which stretches 1300 kilometers from peninsula to Hokkaido. Over 100 volcanoes, 35 near active volcanoes are present here. 35 near active volcanoes are present here. So basically, during World War II, according to the peace agreement, Russia has acquired the entire Kuril Islands. So, but Japan states that it has taken control over southern part of the islands, so which considers itself to have which consider itself to them to be its northern territory. Okay, so now where these islands are located? Now where are these islands located? That is a prior question. They are located in the Russia's far east, separating the Pacific Ocean to the Sea of Okhotsk, administered under Sakhalin Oblast. So basically, as of now, Russia is administering those islands. So that is the reason today Kuril Islands are in news. So which keeps us focused on, which takes us back to even World War II peace treaty between Russia as well as Japan. So Kuril Islands, in the Kuril Islands, Iturup, those island was visited by Russian president. Okay, so this is about Kuril Islands. So be focused. Remember very minute details. So here they can ask you a question. They can frame a statement that the entire Kuril Islands were claimed by Japan. Is it true? No, not exclusively. So they are claiming only southernmost group of islands. So which considers them to be the northern territory of Japan. Next, moving forward, we have moon base program. Moon base program. See, imagine if you people are gifting land on moon to their parents. Okay, so here that is all happening because man started exploring and exploiting not only earth but also the other planets. So even if there is a very minute chances of life being sustaining there, so we wish to explore and also exploit. So here in that process, so NASA is actually conducting moon base program, so which means it wishes to have to research more in the moon and to also provide space for man to explore over there in a phased manner, not very faster, so but in a phased manner, so which occurs in three different phases: phase 1, phase 2 as well as phase 3. So phase 1 till 29, phase 2 29 to 32, phase 3 2032. So first phase 1 we have 2029. So this can be a question in the examination. Identify the phases of moon base program by NASA. And today it is in the news. Why it is relevant, more relevant for India is that it is in the news because NASA formally invited India to join its plan for sustained human presence near the moon's south pole. So when we start understanding about the moon's south pole, so it was the Chandrayaan 3 mission. It was India's Chandrayaan 3 mission which found that there was water presence in the moon's south pole. So moon's south pole, whatever present, that was actually identified by Chandrayaan 3 of our India. So here it states that so water ice in permanently shadowed regions, so which was first accessed by India's Chandrayaan 3 mission. So here, so what happens in a phased manner is that in phase 1, what we are going to send is that missions. So we will be sending robotic missions, technology demonstration and site selection. So NASA will be selecting separate specific site and it will send technology and it will send robotic missions to moon. That is the phase 1. So considering next phase 2 is that so it will deploy power, it will have a cargo transport, then logistic and communication infrastructure. So there, which means literally we are going to set up few infrastructure over there in phase 2, in phase 2 till 2032. So after 2032, which means from 2032 onwards, so we are going to build a permanent lunar outpost for astronauts to live as well and to work. So basically, this phase considers keeping astronauts over the moon base. So this is all about moon base program, which is started by NASA. So they can frame question in the examination. So moon base program technically was started by which of the following space agency. So they can ask you Japan Space Agency, Russian Space Agency, American Space Agency, or Indian Space Agency, or any private agency. Okay, so is it clear? That is about moon base program. Next, again, moving forward, so we have Kolidam River. So Kolidam River, so which is in news. It is from Trichy. Okay, so near Lalgudi. So why it is in news is that Archaeological Survey of India, archaeologists found that remains of likely Sangam era irrigation structure near Lalgudi, Trichy. Near Lalgudi, Trichy. So at the period of Sangam era, there were few irrigation structures. So they were discovered by Archaeological Survey of India archaeologists. Okay. So here we will see about the river. So what significance has this river possessed? It is the northern distributary of Kaveri River. It is called as Kolidam or Koolarun. Kolidam or Koolarun. So it forms the west of Srirangam, Tamil Nadu. It forms the west of Srirangam, Tamil Nadu. So it nearly flows up to 150 kilometers east or northeast direction, emptying into Bay of Bengal between Puducherry and Karaikal. So this is the most important thing because in various question papers they ask which this river drains into either Arabian Sea or Bay of Bengal. Either Arabian Sea or Bay of Bengal, they ask you such questions, and they can give you few rivers. So X, Y, Z rivers, and they can ask you to which of the following oceans, to which of the following either Bay of Bengal or either Indian Ocean these rivers drain into. Okay, so that can be a probable question. Here they can ask you with respect to Kolidam River also. So where does this river enter? Either Bay of Bengal or Arabian Sea. So it was actually dammed in 1838 to irrigate the fertile, densely populated Kaveri Delta. So where major rice growing area was concentrated, okay, town of Chidambaram lies on its banks. So um, Kolidam River, the town of Chidambaram lies on its beak. So this is all bank. This is all about Kolidam River. So where Archaeological Survey of India archaeologists have found the Sangam era irrigation structures. The Sangam era irrigation structures. So this is all about Kolidam River. So have you understood the Kolidam River? So here for us the significant point is that we have to understand the geographical aspects of this river either than focusing on the archaeological features because there may be another development by the time you give your examination probably there can be another development from this aspect. Next, moving forward, we have another species which is in news. So, but this time the species is of frog. Is of frog. So, which is cascade frog. Cascade, which means small waterfall. Small waterfall or series of waterfall, or it may be series of water. It may be a small waterfall or series of waterfall. So these frogs specifically were identified near a small waterfall or series of waterfall, which is the reason they are called as cascade frog. So which is a new species which has been discovered. So now we will see where it has been discovered, how it has been discovered. So what are the significance of the frog and all. Okay. So next, moving forward, so three new cascade frog species were discovered in biodiversity rich forest of Northeast India. So I have already stated that. So we already were in an understanding that any new species probably precisely will be from either northeastern states or from eastern Ghats. So which belongs to genus Amelops, approximately 100 different species are spread across Asian region. So across Asian regions, these Amelops genus has been spread nearly 100 different species. So Amachi's cascade frog, which is present at Jampui Hills, Tripura, named for a social worker Padmini Varki, who was popularly called as Amachi. So this Amachi was very prominent in Kerala. So was a social worker from Kerala in remembrance to her. Okay, so in remembrance to her, a frog was named after her. Amachi's cascade frog. Amachi's cascade frog. So she was a very great personality. She was a good social worker. She helped to lift several peoples from poverty in Kerala region. Next, another important species is that Sen Denyu cascade frog. Sen Denyu cascade frog. So which is found at Nagaland, named after Sen Denyu village. So here it is named after village. Amachi is named after a social worker. Next, beautiful cascade frog. So which is discovered in West Bengal. So Sendenyu cascade frog, Nagaland. Amachi's cascade frog, Tripura. So beautiful cascade frog from West Bengal. It is noted for its green mosaic pattern body. So which has a green mosaic type of appearance over their body. Next, moving forward, so ecological role of these frogs is that so they link aquatic, territorial, terrestrial, aquatic as well as terrestrial food webs. They control pests. They indicate clean water ecosystem. So frogs are very vital to indicate an ecosystem, how the ecosystem has been functioning. Okay. So with respect to that, so they actually form a link between aquatic as well as terrestrial water webs. They control the pest system and they also indicate the clean water ecosystem. So this is all about cascade frog, a new species which was reported in the news. Next, moving forward, black-necked crane. So black-necked crane. So where it is identified, sorry, what are the topic which was with respect to black-necked crane and why it is in news is that so Bombay Natural History Society so nearly sterilized 2,900 dogs in Ladakh to protect black-necked crane chicks and nest in the alpine wetlands. So here what happened is that so these black-necked crane so usually lay their eggs in the wetlands. So they are the state animal of Ladakh. Ladakh people preserve it. Ladakh people feel it that it is a part of their culture. So these black-necked crane so usually lays their eggs in the wetland with mostly in the underground areas. So there are several street dogs. There are several free-ranging dogs which are present in the Ladakh area. So here what happened is that these dogs are usually damaging these eggs. So, with respect to that, if these eggs are damaged, what happens is that next generation of black-necked crane doesn't come. So, whereby it poses a threat to entire next generation of black-necked crane. So, this is the context why this black-necked crane is in news. So, now we will see where these are distributed. So, these are distributed at Tibetan Plateau, Siachen, China, Eastern Ladakh, a small wintering population in Arunachal Pradesh. Only during winter time in Arunachal Pradesh they are present. So apart from that, they are seen in China as well as Ladakh. So it breeds nearly 2,600 to 4,900 meters. Okay. So key sites include Hanle, Sokar, next Niyama in Chattagam Cold Desert Wildlife Sanctuary. So these species uniqueness is that it can survive extreme cold. It can survive extreme cold. So you imagine 4,500 meters from the 4,900 meters from the ground level, the amount of coolness you can feel at that altitude is extremely cold. So that is Chattang Cold Desert Wildlife Sanctuary. So in that area, these black-necked crane actually breed. They are actually present there. So these have actually extreme adaptability techniques. Clear? These have extremely adaptability technique. So here they have cultural significance is that Ladakh's Buddhist culture. So they believe that it is sacred in their culture, which symbolizes peace, purity, and good fortune. Peace, purity, and good fortune. So its status is that as of now, IUCN has declared its status as near threatened. So nearly it is threatened. So if again already it is near threatened, if again those eggs are being destroyed by street dogs, then what happens? So that is the reason BNHS has sterilized those dogs. Okay. So according to CITES Appendix 1, according to Wildlife Protection Act Schedule 1. So this is the protection status. This is the protection status of the black-necked crane. Of the black-necked crane. So this is all about the black-necked crane. So which is considered as state bird of Ladakh, which has a cultural significance for Ladakh's Buddhist culture. Clear? Okay, is it okay? Okay, moving forward, we have another important country which is in the news is Liberia. So Liberia is in news. So before we understand Liberia, so we should know that it is the only African country. It is the only African country which was never under colonial rule, and it is the Africa's oldest republic. Africa's oldest republic, and it was never under any colonial rule. So why it is in news is that Indian Union Women and Child Development Minister met Liberian parliamentary delegation on gender responsive governance. So you can use this with respect to governance. So how a country is having the policy of governance. With respect to that, you have can quote that with Liberia, our government is having a talks on gender responsive governance. So how to be gender responsive governance. So with respect to this, we will see few geographical aspects. So borders include Sierra Leone, Guyana, Cote d'Ivoire, Atlantic Ocean to the southwest. Its capital is Monrovia. Monrovia is the capital of Liberia. Its highest peak includes Mount Mutevi. Major rivers are Mano, Moro, and Kavalla. Mano, Moro, and Kavalla. So this Liberia is rich in diamonds, iron ore, gold, manganese, and graphite deposits. So this is all about Liberia. Okay, moving forward, we have another important scheme which is in news is that Sanchar Mitra scheme. Sanchar Mitra scheme. Okay, so here the scheme is technically talking about to engage the student volunteers of which who are called as Sanchar Mitras from technical institutions, from all the graduation institutions, from all the technical institutions to spread awareness on telecom fraud and digital safety. It is conducted, the nodal agency which is conducting Sanchar Mitra scheme is the Department of Communication. Training is conducted via National Communication Academy and Technology Center. National Communication Academy and Technology Center. Okay, so basically, volunteers what they will do is that so they will conduct community and school outreach on mobile safety and government digital initiatives. See, mobiles and technological device are double-edged sword, isn't it? When I say double-edged sword, you can remember they do both good as well as bad. So when used in a good purpose, they enhance your life. When used in a bad purpose, they actually destroy your life. Okay. So it is in our wisdom, it is in our knowledge to use these products. So for which the government, Department of Telecommunications, training via National Communication Academies and Technology Centers, so is coming up with Sanchar Mitras. So who will be trained and will reach to schools to train you, to train our children to have a good, to use this technologies, to use the mobiles in a safer manner. So top performance who get exposure to research and development products, telecom startups, policy work, and national conformers. Okay, so it is implemented pan India all throughout India through Department of Training Licensed Services area field officers. With the help of field officers, this will be conducted. So this is all about Sanchar Mitra scheme. So this is all about Sanchar Mitra scheme. So which is quite important. So they can ask you a question: who are considered as Sanchar Mitras? Sanchar Mitras. Next, moving forward, so we have Samriddhi program. We have Samriddhi program. So why it is in news is that why this scheme is in news is that so Ministry of Information and Technology informed Rajya Sabha about Samriddhi, so which is actually a startup accelerator, which is a startup accelerator for product innovation, development as well as growth. So it is a startup actually to help the startups for product innovation, for development and also growth. So if you follow the news recent past, one person have discovered or one person have innovated. So flying car. So have you heard about that? One person have innovated flying car. So similarly, to help such kind of innovative products, this Samriddhi program is used. So it aims to support, accelerates to scale IT-based startups via customer, investor, and international market connect. So here it is forming a hub. It is forming a hub or a link. It is forming a hub or a link for customers, investors as well as international market. For customers, investors as well as international market, it is creating a pool. So what does the target setup is that 300 tech startups over the next 3 years. So for 3 years, nearly 300 startups. So in the round one, 22 accelerators across 12 states supporting 175 startups. So 175 startups, 300 tech startups for over 3 years. This is the target. Then next, how the government is funding is that rupees 2 lakh per startup. Per startup, rupees 12 lakh will be provided to accelerators plus matching support up to 40 lakh per startup. So matching support is up to 40 lakh for accelerator, 2 lakh rupees. Okay. So next it is the part of Digital India Corporation. So this is about Samriddhi program which is in the news. So this is all about the Samriddhi program which is in the news. Okay, is it clear? Is it okay? So it is basically to help the startups, to help the innovation, to help the growth as well as development. Clear? So next, moving forward, we have few practice questions with respect to today's current affairs. Consider the following statements regarding Gatiana genus of freshwater crab. All known species of genus are endemic to Western Ghats. So when there is extreme statements. You have to think over it. For today's questions, I wish you to answer in the comment section. I will not be discussing the answers. I will only discuss the statements. So when there is all known species, then any form of extreme statements you have to reread it. Clear? So Gatiana Karnataka is recorded in every season, unlike most related species. Yes, this is the unique nature of these species, which is why it was got so much of attention. Okay, clear? So answer me in the comment section. The Northern Territories dispute occasionally in the news is associated with which following two countries? So either it is Russia and China, Russia, Japan, China, Japan, or South Korea as well as Russia. So with this context, we already discussed that. So the Northern Territories, which Japan considers it as its territories, which are in news because Russian president have recently visited. Now give in the comment section which two countries are part of it. So next, with reference to NASA's moon-based program, consider the following statements. It aimed to publish a sustained human presence near the moon's south pole. Yes. Phase 1 of the program focus on deploying permanent habitations for astronauts. So phase 1, so if you think even technically during the phase 1 itself, can you do this? No, right? Okay. So then in the comment section, please do mention the answer. The Southern African Customs Union Secretariat is headquartered at. I skip this because we will have discussion over this in upcoming classes. So what are the various trade blocks? What are the various trade units? So that we will discuss in very separate lesson. There we will discuss. The black-necked crane is protected under which schedule of Wildlife Protection Act? In the class, in the slide we discuss this. So kindly do come up with the answer for this. Next, we have mains practice questions. Only one we will take out of this and we will discuss. India's northern river system continue to yield archaeological evidence of ancient water management engineering. Discuss the significance of findings for understanding early irrigation practices in southern India. Okay. So here, remember, the answer is going to be very simple and plain. So stick on to the thought process which you know. So how significant is that finding of such early irrigation practices in southern India? Okay, come up with very good answer. Okay, so if you feel it as difficult, then you can also try writing this answer. Human wildlife conflict mitigation increasingly relies on community and NGO-led interventions rather than purely regulatory measure. Discuss with reference to recent conservation efforts for high altitude avian species in India. So, for example, we can state cold, cold desert, isn't it? We discussed recently in the class. Okay, so this is all about for today's class. Thank you so much for 13th August. All these current affairs are in news. Keep revising. Keep focused. Just revise every day. One day is yours.